So do you want to recognize and reward your people, but you're not quite sure what to do? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some simple no cost, low cost, and some team rituals that will help you do just that. So in this video, I want to share the most important thing we need to keep in mind when it comes to recognizing our people. Then I'm going to share some no-cost ideas that you can take action on today. Some low-cost ideas that are all under, well under $100, mostly under $20. And then I want to share some team rituals to create a culture of recognition on your team. And all of these are going to be simple things that you can take action on today. Now, the first thing that I want to call out is it doesn't matter whether you hand somebody a gift card, whether you hand them a reward or an award. The meaning is often created in the message. I have seen people hand people a napkin with a thank you on it, and it brought them to tears. I've seen people hand somebody a crystal schraff or something like this, and the person could care less, and it meant absolutely nothing. So really, remember that the meaning is in the message, and we need to really work on getting that message right. Now, our ability to be able to get that message right is dependent on how well we know the people. One of my favorite scenes from a Simpsons episode is when Homer buys a bowling ball for Marge with the name Homer on it. Because it wasn't anything about what Marge wanted. Did she want a bowling ball with the name Homer on it? Of course not. Homer wanted that, because many times we make the mistake of falling into that golden rule, is treat others the way we want to be treated, with the assumption that other people want that. Many times people who like public praise will praise other people in public when that's what they want, but that other person, it makes them extremely uncomfortable. So remember, one of the first things that allows us to really recognize and appreciate people is knowing them and what matters to them. Don't make the Homer mistake. Let's go in and look at some of the no-cost ideas. Now, one of my favorite ones, if you're working in person or if you're doing it remotely, I'll give you two different options. But one, create a recognition wall. What you can do is simply post a question up on a wall on a whiteboard. And I work with a lot of healthcare organizations. So I'll have them take out a whiteboard and write a question. Who's somebody you appreciate today? And then have everybody write notes on that while they're moving around throughout their day to be able to celebrate one another. Okay, another cool thing that you can do, and I have a couple different versions of this. So one is a recognition mailbox. And I think I probably got this idea. If you've ever been into a Starbucks, if they have the door open to their break room, you will see little aprons. And then you'll see little notes tucked into those aprons, and each apron has a name on it. And these are like paper cutout of aprons. And then what you have people do is write everybody's names, put a little mailbox up on it, and you can just fold over a sheet of paper, write their name on it. And then what you do is you put out some post-it notes and have everybody write a note of appreciation to other people they work with every day, and then tuck them into those little mailboxes. Now, I have a holiday version of this that I send out in my newsletter at the end of the year, which you can sign up for my newsletter at beyondthankyou.com, where we have people make stockings. They make little stockings. You write people's name on the top. I'm trying to cover up the date at the bottom here because it's an older date here. Write the name up, fold it over, staple it on the side, hang these up around the office, and then have everybody write notes to each other, put them into the stockings at the end of the year, hand them the stocking. A simple thing to be able to spark that at the end of the year, or do mailboxes during the year. Now, another one as senior leaders, maybe Employee Appreciation Day is coming up, and a simple thing that we can do is, and I actually did this with the hospital that I was working with, write out on sheets of paper what it would be like if we didn't have and it could be admins, nurses, doctors, whoever it is within your organization, our facilities management, our finance leaders, and then have the leaders write down the answer to that question to complete the sentence. It would be, many people say, hell, impossible. Then what you do is you open up a Zoom video and have everybody come on. And then one on time, have the leader hold up that picture right there and say that line out loud and record the video. And in the end, what do you have? You have a simple video with all your senior leaders sending messages to their people, add music to it, and then you have a simple employee appreciation video that you can send out to all your people. Now, is it somebody's work anniversary or somebody's birthday? Do the same thing. Have all the people that they work with, invite them all to a Zoom video or walk around with your camera and just film them. Hey, send one message to so-and-so on their birthday or on their work anniversary. What's one thing you appreciate about them? And then have everybody do that. And then in the end, you'll have a video that they'll never forget. Now, here is the simplest thing you can do, and honestly, arguably the most important, is what I call reflective recognition. Now, most people get recognized. We recognize people for the things that we see. But usually what people want to be recognized for are the things that we don't see. And so something that I introduce in my trainings and workshops is the concept of reflective recognition, which is an inquiry-based approach to recognition. So instead of trying to recognize people, instead ask them, what are you proud of? What have you been working on? And we often forget, as a mentor of mine often says, it's less important what we say to others than what we empower others to say to us. So simply ask people, what are they proud of that they've been working on? And then ask questions to understand what it took for them to do what they did. If you want to learn more about that concept, check out my article in Harvard Business Review, A Better Way to Recognize Employees, and we'll include that in the video description below. So another simple one you can do is a traveling trophy. You can just grab something off the shelf like I did from this right behind me, and you can just turn this into a traveling award or reward. I guess it's more of an award in this case. And it can just be the Global Leader Award. And HP is renowned for the golden banana, where one manager walked into the manager's office and he had this really innovative idea and had a breakthrough, and he grabbed a banana from his lunch and handed it to him and said, "Here is the Golden Banana for Innovation Award," and he handed them the banana. It became such a coveted award that they started making these golden bananas that they would hand out to people at HP. So just create an award. It can be a boot, it can be a shoe, do something along the thing. It can be the golden pallet, right? Or golden roll of tape if you work in a manufacturing facility, but do something that is tied to your values and awards and just make it fun. It doesn't need to cost anything. Now, let's move on to talking about some low-cost ideas. And in order for these to really have an impact, this is where we as organizations want to make sure that we've empowered our leaders with the resources to take action on things that will really make a difference. And this really requires us to know our people. Now, one of my favorite ones, and this is actually based on a friend of mine when I was doing some work, I think, with Fidelity Investments a while ago, and he was an employee there, and they brought me in to train their leaders in the art of recognition. And she asked me, she goes, "Hey, what would be a great compliment for your friend who works here?" And I'm like, "He's really inefficient. One of the greatest things you could do is give him a $20 Bass Pro Shop gift card and then give him 2 hours off on Friday." And funny enough, 3 days later, she did just that. After our program, she gave him the gift card and a couple hours off, and he said to this day, this is still one of the best acknowledgments that I've ever gotten. Here's another one of my favorite ideas, is we often recognize our employees and reward our employees, but one of the people that make their work possible is the families that they're supporting at home. So one really cool thing you can do is send flowers to the person's house, send gift cards. Is that person going on the road for 2 weeks and their spouse is going to be taking care of their kids while they're on the road for your company? Send them gift cards to take their family out for dinner. Send them somebody to babysit so that person can get a break. Imagine how that person's spouse or family member's relationship to your company are going to change when they realize the company's not just thinking of the employee, but thinking of the impact on the family as well. Now, another reason why it's so important to understand what's so important to our people is to understand the gifts that are going to make the biggest difference. Now, I shared the kind of crystal Schraft thing before, and I remember a story of a guy who shared that for his years of service or something like that, the company gave him this crystal Schraft. And I go, "Well, where is it today?" And he goes, "It's up sitting on the top of the fridge behind the cereal boxes." Clearly, it didn't have an impact. I said, "Well, what would have made the biggest difference for you?" He goes, "You know what makes the biggest difference?" He goes, "When I hear from a client that I'm working with," he was a civil engineer. He's like, "When I go out into the neighborhood and an old lady comes out onto her porch and goes, 'You know what? I have been trying and calling to get this fixed for like 10 years and no one came out, and you finally did it.'" So one great thing that we can do that's actually a free thing that we can do is actually collect the feedback from the people that we've impacted and letting them know the difference they made. Now, that's a free thing that you can do, but I'm going to share something that a client did for me that was by far one of the coolest things anyone's ever done for me. Is that I ran a bunch of workshops at their organization, and what they did is they pulled the survey results from my workshops, pulled out the things that really stood out, and they got it engraved on this plaque for me. Would I really want a generic plaque? No, but look at what it says. Beyond thank you, authentic, Chris cares, and they captured the essence of what I try to do with my work. And one of their employees had a company that engraves things on wood. So they made this for me. I don't know how much it cost to get it done, but they got this made for me. And honestly, it's one of the coolest things someone's ever done. And now it hangs up in my office, and I always remember my time with them. Now, another simple one we can do is just bring people together to eat. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money, whether we're ordering pizzas, whether we're taking people out for a meal, or ordering food and bringing it in. But here's the thing, many times people spend this money, they bring people together, people eat the food, they come in, grab a slice, and they leave. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we make that moment meaningful. But they failed to make that moment meaningful. So you want to do things to be able to make sure that when you do bring people together, you set the context for why you're doing it. Hey, I know this isn't much. I know we're just getting pizzas, but I just wanted to take a moment for us to pause for a minute and celebrate the progress we're making. And then just invite people. Hey, what is one way we've grown recently? What's one thing you're proud of? And then let people share. Hey, how have we grown as a team? What are we doing really well? How are we able to navigate everything we did recently? Have a conversation about it over the pizza. And then as a leader at the end, summarize what people shared and just let people know, hey, I know I wish I could give you more. I wish I could thank you more. I wish I could give everybody a promotion and a raise and all the rest. But I just wanted to do this small gesture to just let you know how much I value you. And remember, that message is the thing that creates the meaning. Now, the last thing that I want to share is a couple team rituals that really help us recognize people. And one that I often share the most is what I call a small victories practice. And I learned this from a good friend, Glenn Johnson. And I share this all the time, and you'll hear it in maybe some of my other videos as well, because it's the simplest thing and it makes the biggest difference. And it's just a small victory practice. So every Thursday around noon, when people are burned out and fried and all they can focus on is all the things they didn't do, just pose the question into your group chat, whether it's Slack, Teams, WhatsApp, or whatever, and just ask people, what were your small victories this week? And if you do this every Thursday around noon, it will create the ritual as a team where everyone goes in and celebrates. And what tends to happen, and I know this happens for the group that I practice this in, is that all week I'm thinking about what are going to be my small victories this week. Hey, it was recording this video today. Hey, it was traveling to be able to get this done. It was moving this email forward, closing this project, or going to bed on time last night. But it helps people connect and celebrate at the same time. Now, another simple thing that we can do is a shout outs practice. So when you're in meetings, at the end of the meeting, just open it up and ask people, does anyone want to give a shout out to somebody on our team or on another team that really supported in this week? And just by inviting people to do that, what's likely to happen is the first time you ask this question, people are just going to sit there quiet. And just sit there awkwardly, like I am right now. And the longer you wait, somebody will start to share. And then another person will share, and another person will share, and another person will share. And a cool story is I actually did this for senior managers in a large furniture company, is I guess what I'll say. I heard from the organizer a couple weeks later that the senior leader then did it in their senior manager meeting, and then all the managers went back and did it in their meetings. And then those managers went back and did their meetings, and we rippled it out across the organization, and we didn't spend a cent in doing it. Now, as leaders and as organizations, we have so many things that we can do. And I know it's just hard to come up with ideas. But today, I hope I left you with some no-cost things, some low-cost things, and some team rituals. And if you want more ideas, then make sure you go to my website at beyondthankyou.com and sign up for my newsletter, where I send out things like this Christmas stocking here, like this. And I also have my Halloween thank you cards that I send out every year, so you don't have to find them. I have them up there where it's a real thrill to work with you with Michael Jackson. It scares me how good you are at your job. You're better than my pumpkin spice latte. And so I share out things like this and ideas to be able to do those simple things that let your people know that they feel valued. And if you want support in helping your managers getting better at the message side of things and understanding the simple things that they can do to ensure their people feel valued, then reach out to me at beyondthankyou.com.